Hello, this is Blue on Blue Point Trading. It's the 9th of July 2013, and the market's blasting up through this trend line. Trend line is not a real solid trend line. It's only got a couple of hits on it, so don't act like this is going to be a major thing here. But the big resistance here is at the 1645 area, so it might run up here a little bit in the pre-market here to the 1645. And then back off, work the wedge, and for an eventual breakdown or break up. Of course, the trend is your friend right now, and it's on the up mode. All your moving averages are moving up, so it might just joggle here for a day or two, or it might go straight up. But the current trend is up. But on a longer-term fundamental basis, I'm somewhat bearish. So we'll see what happens. But right now, you can't get short because it's going up. On the bonds, floating back up to the trend line here. It might trade sideways to slightly up today and work this wedge to the downside, but it's for right now it's just going to work this area right in here. On the Forex, trend's your friend. It's going down, a little bit up movement here, and then it works the wedge to the downside, maybe even a breakdown below 128. Same thing on the pound. It might work its way up in a little surprise rally back up to the 151 maybe. But then working this wedge area here for eventual breakdown further. No sign of reversal. Same thing on the yen, working this trend line to the upside, so it looks like it could continue higher. And on the Swiss, same thing. Maybe a little poke back down to the trend line and then continue on up. Ditto on the Aussie. It's in the doghouse, so working the wedge to the downside for a potential further work down. Of course, if we get a breakup, we'll deal with that when it happens. CAD, same thing. Working the wedge, winding up to go higher. And on the commodities, crude oil, looking for another spike up here. Depending on it's fundamentally it should be shorted, but you can't with this strength here. So as long as this Egyptian thing is exploding in our faces, it's wedging here, pull on the pullback to go even higher until we start breaking down below some of these levels or stop making new highs. Then we might get bearish. Fundamentally, I am bearish, but you can't get short here. On the gold, little positive move there up overnight. I thought it would be working the sideways, but it's still in this trading range between 1200 and 1260. So until we can break the 1260, it's wedging to the downside. So we'll see what happens here if it can actually get some energy to brush through this 1260. If it breaks 1260, that might put in play 1300 and maybe even as high as 1360. So let's see what happens. And as always, whatever you do, don't be panicking in the market.